What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the World War II Solitaire board game channel. And today we're gonna take a look at a very special game. It's called Terrible Swift Swordfish. And there is a few reasons why this is a very special game to me. First of all, it's not a very known game. It's a mini game from Against the Odds magazine website, published by LPS. Designed by Roberto Chiavini. And anyway, this game is not very known. I've seen that there is no material at all on YouTube about it, so that is one of the reasons why I wanted to cover this game. And the other reason is because it's also about a quite unknown part of World War II, which played a significant role in the war. And it's the raid on Taranto, or the Battle of Taranto, and it was called Operation Judgment. And I'm gonna go ahead and open this bag up, and I'm gonna speak more about this fantastic history. And it was done with this with these obsolete airplanes, which you can see here, which are called ferry Swordfish, and they were used during the night of November 11th to 12th in 1940, and during that time these planes were already obsolete. And as you can guess, this was in the Mediterranean. This was in Italian port, quite close to Malta. And it was the first ever all-aircraft ship-to-ship naval attack in history. So there had been a previous attack with these Swordfish, these ferry Swordfish planes, a few months earlier during an attack on a French ship in a North African, I think in Algeria coast. And that's, I guess, where they came up with the idea or the concept of this attack. So during the night of the 11th of November, 21 of these little beautiful, innocent-looking ferry Swordfish planes were launched in two waves of attacks against the harbor of Taranto, which had the Italian Navy in that harbor at the time. And to devastating effect, because the Italians lost 3 battleships were disabled, 1 heavy cruiser was damaged, 2 destroyers were damaged, 2 fighter planes were destroyed. There were 59 killed Italian sailors, 600 wounded, and they also, they bombed the fuel supplies and stuff like that. So they just wreaked havoc on the city of Taranto and the harbor. And they themselves, they only lost 2 planes, and one of the planes, both the pilot and the co-pilot were KIA, but the other planes, the other plane, they managed to survive and were captured and became prisoners of war. And if you're interested in reading about that, you can just go ahead and Google Operation Judgment or the Battle of Taranto. Also check out Operation Catapult, which were the operation when they first launched the ferry Swordfish planes to attack that French ship, which I think kind of led to this attack or the inspiration. And another and last interesting note about this piece of history is that the Japanese, I think they gained a lot of inspiration for the attack on Pearl Harbor from this specific attack, because there was actually a Japanese naval attaché which flew personally to Taranto, and he had a lengthy conversation with the commander who led the attack to Pearl Harbor. Also, there were more Japanese personnel studying the attack, I think in May 1941, and in preparation of the attack of Pearl Harbor. And basically what the British did, which was quite interesting, they modified their torpedoes because the water in this harbor was really shallow. And I also know that the Yamamoto, whatever his name was, who wanted to prepare to attack to attack the American fleet in a harbor. He did not have a lot of support, but after this attack and after the news of this attack, the support for this idea really grew as these British pilots showed that it could be done. Again, they with only 21 planes, 2 planes lost, they wounded 600, they killed 59, and they disabled 3 of the Italian battleships, which also obviously shifts the favor to the British Royal Navy in the Mediterranean during World War II. So anyway, that is my history lesson about the raid on Taranto, and I think it's just great that they decided to make this little game, so people don't miss out on this very important part of history. But let's get to the unboxing. Let's take a look at this stuff. So here we have the front page. We get to see again this little innocent, beautiful looking fairy swordfish, and I think the name is sounds as innocent as the plane itself looks. And we see some of these ships. I'm guessing they are Italian. Perhaps they are the ones that got hit. I'm not that well versed into that battle that I can say that. And we have a mission log sheet, which we may make a photocopy of. We can see that down here, permission to photocopy for personal use. And we have our map, and it's a paper map. It's actually, okay, so the map itself is this big. And we can see the harbor of Taranto. And I think if I remember correctly, the first attack was going from the left side or from the west, and then the second wave came up from the north. And half of these fairy swordfish planes, they had torpedoes, and half of them had bombs and flares. So you can see that this map aims to recreate that scenario. We have flares here, and I think the original attack, they dropped flare on this place here, and then they bombed down here. There were fuel supplies and such, and the bombers also hit some of the ships laying down here, and that was kind of a diversion for the torpedo bombers, which were going against these ships. And we can see here also, here are some of the ships, and I'm going to give you a closer look at that. If I can get my camera to focus, there we go. So here we see the north part, and here there's the ships that were hit by the torpedoes in the real battle. Okay, so that is our game map, and then on the left side here we can see, okay, so these are going to be the rules, I'm guessing. Yes, they are. Okay, so we have our rules here, and we can see this is going to be quite a simple game to learn. I would say it's about 2 pages of rules. So that's, when I'm done with this video, I'm gonna sit down, try to learn this game so I can show it up for you how it works. And last but not least, we have our counters. Okay, so this is gonna be the front of the counters. We can see we have our Italian targets here. Not gonna try to pronounce them. And then we have our beautiful little fairy swordfish planes here. And yeah, you can see it looks like it is going to be quite historically accurate. We see we have our first wave here, and then second wave on the back side. So it recreates that historical scenario. We have different markers here for damaged and crippled. And then we have our flares, and it's going to be interesting to see how they function in this game, what purpose we have for them. And different numbers. And then on the back here, okay, so the Italian ships have a question mark on them, so maybe we don't know exactly which ship that is. I don't know how that works, but we're gonna find out. And second wave, we have heavy here. Okay, these are flares, and the numbers can be heavy or light. And ATD for these several of these, for all of the numbers. Sorry, the flares have the heavy and light on the back, and the numbers have this ATD. So I'm guessing perhaps the numbers are damaged, and the ATD means something like it wasn't successfully launched or something like that. Anyway, guys, that is the very interesting game of Terrible Swift Swordfish, which wasn't really terrible swift. I think it maximum speed was something like 230 kilometers per hour or something, but they were really cool because you could maneuver with them in incredible ways, and they were sturdy, so they could be used even in terrible weather. So I'm very happy that I found this game, because actually I did not know about the Battle of Taranto or Operation Judgment before I found this little game. So I'm really happy I found it, because I learned about a really significant and interesting part of history. You can get this game for $21.95 US shipped in the US, or $35.95 US shipped internationally. Okay, so stay tuned to my channel. I am gonna do a playthrough video of this game quite soon. If you are not already, please do subscribe.